I cannot hear you. What is going on? 1 2 1 2. But yeah, I can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh man, if I just talked for 3.5 minutes without having my, you know what?
I think you might have, but it's okay. Today is a Thursday that registers as a Monday in my book. So
Man, yeah. I had the mic shut and now yeah, I can tell. I do not think I was talking that whole time. That is embarrassing. Good thing we only had one person listening. I think I know who that one person is. So embarrassment saved. But Mikhail, now that we're all officially here, my mic's working, you're back. Let's go
yes.
ahead and talk about what's been going on. So
So
I'll just
let
give
me
a quick
just
40-second run up of what we're going to be talking about for this episode because we've
yep.
got a fast episode that we want to get underway. And
Yep.
so, guys, everybody, podcast listeners, anybody's listening live, we're going to be going over a few things today, such as the Miami win for the Democrats, which is a big win, an unexpected win. And on top of that, Mikhail just left. Hopefully, he'll come back. And on top of that, we've got the Georgia State House flip, the Democratic battle going on in Texas for the Senate between Crockett and Talmarico. And then we've got Trump's approval slipping, as well as the Obamacare extension battle ongoing in the House and Senate. And then further from there, we've got the Epstein files and what's going on with them. We've got Kristi Noem being shown to be a complete liar and also somebody who just completely disregards law in order to satisfy their ego by deporting people left and right illegally. Cannot wait to see that woman go to jail. It is inevitable. And further from that, we've got the economy, such as talking about the stagflation, and even more, Trump himself proposing ending gambling taxes, which is insane to me. And then to tie it all up, we're going to be finishing up with the talk about the home prices dipping negative for the first time in 2 years and the Venezuela tank seizure. So, Mikhail, let's get right underway with our first topic: the Miami mayorship going to the Democrats and going to a woman for the first time ever, Democrats for the first time in 28 years. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So yeah, huge win for Democrats across the board on December 9th on Tuesday, mostly in two states, Miami and Georgia. We're going to touch on both. And to our listeners, thank you for your patience. I know we start at 6:20, but we are glad to have you here so we can go through these topics with you. Yes, Israel is to blame. They're trying to sabotage us. But yeah, starting with Miami mayoral election victory for Democrats. So Democrats celebrated a historic breakthrough in Miami's mayoral runoff on December 2nd. So for those who don't know, a runoff is usually when there is sometimes a special election or a general election Those elections will happen on the primary stage, and then there will be a general election. If no one goes over that 50% threshold for all of the candidates, then there is a runoff election for the top two candidates. So that's what you have here, the runoff election, which was between Ellen Higgins, a former Miami-Dade County commissioner who
I think it might be
defeated,
Eileen.
I think it might be Eileen too. Eileen Higgins, who is
Yeah.
a former Miami-Dade County commissioner who defeated Republican Emilio Gonzalez, 59% to 41%.
Mikhail, did I get disconnected or did you get disconnected? I think he may have gotten disconnected. So, guys, I'll just pick it right back
Despite
up from there. Wait,
nonpartisanship
Mikhail, you're
race.
back.
Am I back again?
Yeah,
My
you cut
connection's
off right as you were
crazy here.
talking about the
All right.
percentage victory threshold amongst the two of them.
So yes, it's 59, 41% for Eileen. So that's huge. First time since 1997 that a female and or a Democrat and non-Hispanic mayor in decades. So despite the nonpartisan race, Higgins campaigned openly as a Democrat. Most county, whether it's commissioners, those races are usually not not partisan in any sense, given that they're more local esque compared to your more state level and or federal level offices. Um, Higgins campaigned as Democrat, emphasizing ethical leadership, affordable housing, and criticism of Trump's immigration policies, which resonated in the Hispanic majority city, where fears of family detentions drove turnout. And she led by 19 points with nearly all votes counted, drawing endorsements from figures like Pete Buttigieg and Obama, while Gonzalez, a former city manager and a Trump endorsee, conceded gracefully but highlighted his service on Trump's Homeland Security transition team. And then the victory in a district that Trump flipped in 2024 starts to signal Democratic momentum in Florida ahead of 2026. So it's going to be interesting to really see what are some of those down ballot and top ballot races going to be looking like in Florida, just given this one instance. With Higgins is now vowing to exit the city's 287G agreement with ICE and streamline permitting for affordable housing units and potentially boosting urban gains against GOP Sunbelt dominance. So that is on the Miami-Dade front was a big win, but even more on the other side, looking at Georgia, the state house flip, which is a more stunning special election upset. So on December 9th, that Tuesday,
This
Democratic.
is a big deal.
Yeah, this is huge. Democrat Eric Gisler, 49-year-old tech executive and olive oil store,
oil store owner.
store owner. It's kind of like Malat Kiros, who we had on here, lawyer, PhD, but then also now is a barista in her home district.
Lost her job due to Israel. That's actually not just a joke. That is actually the truth.
Yeah. So this individual, Democratic Eric Gisler, he flipped Georgia's House District 121 from Republican control by a razor-thin 50.85% to 49.15% margin, nearly 200 votes difference. So if anyone ever tells you that your vote doesn't matter, here's a race where literally if 200 people didn't vote a certain way, it could have changed the dynamics of the Georgia State House. And this is actually a district where Trump won by 12 points in 2024. And this is handing Democrats a key seat in their push to challenge the GOP supermajority. Gisler, who actually lost to incumbent Marcus Widower in 2024. And actually, he surged with a focus on affordability, healthcare, and education, and dominated the Athens-Clarke County precincts, which he was able to get 82% of the support from those precincts, while narrowing gaps in Ocean County. So the win, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll say, as you mentioned, this has already been a large swing from Trump 2024 to this current election, about a 13% swing. And also just from the last time Gisler ran, he lost by around that same point.
Yeah, he lost by around that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So now, it's just showing that this is actually really, is it just Trump fatigue or is it in general people just disliking MAGA GOP politics? Because the Miami mayor race, God, I keep twisting my tongue when I try to say Miami mayor. The Miami mayor race was also an 11% when in 2024. Miami went 11% in favor of Trump. And now this
Yeah.
is nearly 18% for the Democrat. That's almost a 30% point swing. That's insane.
Yeah, pretty much insane, and it also kinda you could say that we some people didn't see this coming, but honestly, if you look at kinda like the exit polls in a sense from, the most recent New Jersey, governor's race, a lot of those exit polls, you had Republicans who were voting for, Democrat Mikey Sherrill over the Republican, Jack Chiarelli, just really because of what Trump has done and the policies that he has pushed and, the talking points that he has, said on air. So that was a huge factor for a lot of voters going into that governor's race, as well as the Georgia race and the Florida mayor's race as well. These things are all compounding, and now Republicans are finally, I would hope so, starting to see the light and realize that they are losing their grips on their base, and that even still aligning and still running hip to hip with Trump is not going to get you to where you want. More recent news, actually, I seen on my way over here.
Yeah.
The Indiana State Senate rejected the uh,
Gerrymandering map.
yeah, the gerrymandering map that would give them 2 extra seats, even though Trump was threatening them, constantly threatening the state senators of Indiana, but they did not buckle. And that's another little piece that shows you that they understand that he's only here for what, 3 years, 3 more years, and that's it. The
I mean,
Republicans are going to have to face the voters and the public once he's gone and figure out what their messaging is. I mean, we can say that it could be JD Vance, but most people don't really like him. We could say it
couch fucker.
could be Marco Rubio, who I think is probably the most
Narco Rubio.
primed
Oh my God.
individual, but
I
he's
hate
in
all these
Israel.
people.
He's someone that's with Israel,
He's
and
somebody
so
that's
it's like
all for forever wars, all for this Venezuela nonsense, all for doing whatever he can to get himself some power while arguing that he's not doing it. It's ridiculous.
exactly.
And
So you're going to have those candidates that are going to try to distance themselves from Trump and really what's going on in his administration. And as I've been always saying, we're only 12 months in, and you can already see
it's
the
been a long
cracks
year.
coming. I mean, this is almost like you're watching the 2012 movie, that 2012 movie. In the beginning of the movie, when the earthquake starts coming, that's kind of like what Republicans are going through right now. Their
Or it's kind of
whole
like watching the 2025 Eagles knowing that they can't keep winning
hey
forever
ho, hey
because the
ho,
offense is
hey
so
hey
bad.
hey hey ho. Whoa. We
I
got
had
more
to
wins than the
listen. I had to
Ravens.
take a shot.
We
I
got
had to
more
take a
wins than the
shot.
Ravens. We got more wins than the Ravens.
Oh,
So
well, we were 1-5 because our bet. Imagine if Jalen Hurts was injured for 6 weeks. Yeah, you guys would be in the same situation we are. You don't
we
have
had
an
our
excuse.
listen. We had our quarterback out during the
Nah,
Super
you,
Bowl.
you
We
have an
won one.
excuse. Kevin
So
Patullo is the excuse.
we had our quarterback out for a Super Bowl and we won one. So I don't even want to hear it.
We won
Don't.
a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. Who is Trent Dilfer? I don't know, and we won a Super Bowl with it. Yeah, but back to the point. Let's get back to the point.
Yeah,
Because I
back to the
wanted to
point.
add a little bit about what you were just
Yeah.
chatting there, Mikhail, is that I do agree that a lot of the Republicans are seeing what's happening.
Hmm.
And a big thing of what happens with the redistricting and the gerrymandering is that how they get those seats is by basically diluting the votes. So they'd take like the Republican district that's plus 14, mix it with a Democrat district that's plus 5, and then try to get like a plus 7 and a plus 4 Republicans out of both of them. And see, that works in theory until the people start swinging the other direction. So say that safe Republican plus 13 district, now if you were to
Yeah.
get a 12%, 11% swing across the polls, that would still be a Republican seat. But now you dilute that vote, and now the people are swinging 10, 11% to the Democrats, like we're seeing in most races, honestly, from 2024. Like the Miami race, 28%. This Georgia race, 13%. You
Yeah.
get that in these districts that are now diluted because they were safe bets for the Republicans. Now these people are just completely losing their seats. And the whole point of the gerrymander of the redistrict, if you want to be proper, I guess, is that they're going to try to get more seats and they're going to lose more than what they expected.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Indiana Republicans are seeing. They're like, dude, we see where the winds are blowing. You can threaten us, and I think there's a higher chance, because it was always the reason why Republicans always fall buckle in line is because they don't want Trump to go after them and them to lose the support. So these people are legit thinking, well, I think we have a higher chance at keeping our jobs and our seats if we don't do this redistricting. And even though if Trump is going to throw a temper tantrum on his social media about us.
Yeah, or even
And
primary them or whatever. But that's not going to work. I mean, this redistricting battle is a big old red hot L for the Republicans. I mean, Democrats got Prop 50 done, so we have our so I shouldn't say we, California and House Democrats have, their changes that, the people voted for and wanted. It wasn't something that came down from the state single-handedly that they just approve on their own. Totally different style of getting
oh yeah,
things approved and done. And now, I mean, you could say that the Indiana Republicans have some backbone or something, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if there's any more additional efforts, because mind you, we're only 12 months in, as I keep saying, so they could try again and again and again.
can't wait for
But
2026 midterms,
yeah,
man.
I
I
really
really
can't. I
got
really
my
can't
fingers
either.
crossed.
And then even with the 2026 midterms, even within the Democratic Party, you're kind of seeing a moving along in our discussion. The Democratic Party revolt in Texas and beyond, because Democrats are grappling with a Tea Party style progressive insurgency, threatening its establishment picks in the 2026 races. This is exemplified by Representative Jasmine Crockett, who we talked about on Tuesday, late entry
That
into
woman.
Texas primary after excuse me, Colin Allard's withdrawal, igniting a heated contest with state rep James Tallarico, who I've stated and Muhammad has stated as well, is the more aligned candidate for the two of us, and what I think that most Texans should align their vote with. I actually saw a video of Johnson today. Someone asked him about how did he feel about Jasmine Crockett going into the race. He was like this,
Yeah.
rubbing his hands together, and he was like, I think it's the best thing for America. I was like, let's get her the loudest microphone she could have, or that she wants. And there's
She's
also
literally just
apparently,
like if you could take like someone who just goes for viral clip, she is the Texan Cory Booker.
yeah, I could see that in a
She's
sense.
all
Yeah, I mean,
about
she's
APAC.
definitely
She tries
loud,
to claim
and
to be progressive. She loves Israel, loves APAC, loves the lobbies, loves getting all that fancy money, loves getting the money from the corporate lobbies, loves doing nothing but literally just barking and talking, just
yep,
like Cory Booker.
literally. And Crockett's like combative style and viral rhetoric risks really, alienating moderates, in the
Hmm.
state that's
Like
really,
us.
really, 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 really ripe for flipping if unified. I really think that Senate seat can be flipped if you have the right candidate. That I don't think that she's the right candidate. She's
At
just
all.
too much out there, theoretics, where it's like, as we've been said multiple times, we want policy. And someone actually tweeted this out to Talarico. They said, it makes it easier for voters to support a candidate if we can see your policy page. So apparently he does not have a policy page out. And actually, that was a little bit of an issue with Mikey Sherrill when she ran for governor. That issue was not really too much on the policy side of things, besides like the little interviews here and there, and the opposition's commercials that they had about her speaking and things of that nature. There was nothing really concrete that you could
Yeah.
see. So it's like you have to weigh the options. What's gonna work best? Having policy out there, you'll have your critics, you'll catch flack, but you can stand on what you stand for and speak to that and stand true to that. Or you just have no policy. You have to just go with the punches of, no one knows what he's doing, no one knows what he was going to try to do or legislate. But you also have that ambiguousness where you could kind of put that narrative in your own right, and then after you get in, build up that legislative slate
Get a
instead.
feel of what the people
Exactly.
want and then just pick what they want instead of actually having
Exactly.
something you believe.
Exactly. But it's definitely
Yeah.
going to be a huge split between the Democratic Party, because you have Crockett, I would say, more in the formal professional establishment side of things. And even though Talarico is a state rep, so I can't say that he's an amateur, but I would say it's more on that realism, is I kind of want to say, but I don't know if that's really the right word to put to it. Genuine is another word I think you could add to that. Talarico, those candidates like Malat,
You get the
Bansell,
feeling that he
Vega,
actually
like all
cares
those people,
about
they're
what's
actually
happening.
Right. They're not just saying punch words or words are going to get them viral or clips of that nature. She said something today about DEI, and just the way that she said it, I'm just like, all right, well, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, and the message is important, but how you're going about it and how you're saying those things are only, from my point of view, are only for capturing that clip so that it's out there and people can talk about, this is what Jasmine Crockett said, X, Y, and Z, and A, B, and C. I don't think that's how legislators should be operating, in my
I agree. If
opinion.
you want to be an influencer,
And
stick
even
to
with
social
working with
media.
them, like a lot of them don't even operate in that mannerism when it comes to the state level. That's why I can tell that Tallarico is more composed and more compassionate and more true about a lot of his issues. You don't have to be out loud raising, wailing your hands around to make sure you're heard. He comes in with the points and the facts. Like he had that uh what was
Jollibee.
it, that was it, the Jollibee thing. I'm like, that is genius.
Hmm.
Sat down with 20 undecided candidates and just talked to them. I mean, that is what I want to see from more candidates. Like that Jollibee thing is a great format to where you can just really have your wounds open and really have voters, your constituents, come at you with questions that you're going to face. So it's better to just
Hmm.
get out in front of them instead of just having these viral clips and not really answering the call that your constituents need and or want. Now, moving on from that, looking at um, Trump's approval rating is slipping on a lot of key issues here. So
Oh man, yeah, looking bad, looking
there's a
bad.
new AP NORC poll which reveals Trump's approval on the economy cratering to 31%, his lowest ever and 9 points since March, alongside a 11 point drop on immigration to 38%, signaling vulnerabilities in signature issues as tariffs.
Oh no, he tuned out. I'll make sure to let him know when he tuned out. I'll give it 10
Border
seconds.
security,
Yo, you tuned
his
out.
low
You tuned out right when you said the word tariffs.
his tariffs and deportation rates alienating moderates and independents, and overall his job approval dipped to 36%, with border security his lone bright spot at 50%. But even Republicans, soared, which at the economy, looking at like 78% to 69%, which is odd to me in the sense, amid 68% viewing the economy as poor, and public fatigue from chaos like the recent shutdowns, and experts are tying in the slide to unaffiliated promises, with Democrats at 10% approval, eyeing midterm backlash. So realistically, a lot of the major issues that Trump was championing on and running on and was doing actually very well in the beginning of his term, I would say.
Especially immigration.
Yeah, actually, immigration doing very well. Are slipping very, very, very fast because people are
Hmm.
understanding that. Yeah, he's saying all these things, he's putting things on Twitter, but on paper, a lot of things aren't happening. A lot of things are getting more expensive. A lot of things
And,
are getting out of people's reach. We're seeing that over and over again.
and I think a big thing about it as well is that people really realize more with their pocket than anything else.
Yeah.
A big reason why so many people were fond of Trump going into this second term, voted for him, and why they thought he was such a good economic choice was because he had a fairly successful first term with the economy. Like the
Yep.
Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was the first tax cut for the working class in a very long time, and it was pretty small. It was only like 2-3%. But and the standard deduction went higher, and there was a few
Yeah.
other things that shifted around. But people felt that when it came to tax return season. And the difference is now the stock market was going up, things are looking good. The difference is now we've got stagflation. The stock market is in a bubble situation that everyone knows about. They're just waiting for it to happen. And I think it's also a big thing to keep in mind is that a lot of what Trump, his rhetoric has been regarding key issues like immigration,
Yeah,
is
man.
that his supporters don't think he's going too far. They don't think he's gone far enough.
Yeah.
The other
It's
people,
scary.
moderates and Democrats across the board, are thinking this guy's gone way too far. Like we understand, you deport somebody when they cross the border, but you see all these videos of ICE detaining American citizens, sending people to countries they've never been in, Kilmar Garcia is a fantastic example. They've tried to send the guy to 3 different countries. None of them he's ever lived in. And it's like, no matter, even though the courts are saying, hey, you guys can't do this, you guys can't, you guys quite literally are not legally allowed to do this, they just keep doing it.
I was
And then
like,
I
didn't
think
they
the
just
best
release
example right
someone?
now, go ahead, what'd you say?
I was like, didn't the wasn't there a judge that just ruled that someone was
Today.
to be released?
Yeah, the judge just ruled today that they have to let him go. And that's like the 3rd time a judge has ruled that, and they keep challenging it in court. And while they're challenging it in court, they try to deport him. And then they're going to try to say, oh, well, he's already gone. What do you want us to do? Bring him back. You're going to bring him back. This is going to
Right.
exactly be what's happened. But the point being is the cruelty. They want to show this image off of, hey, we don't want people like this coming into our country. So much so that even when it comes to just tourism, they've been telling people, it's been getting out that the United States will require 5 years of your social media posts before they allow
Yes.
you into the country.
Just
Why do you think they want
is it
those
just
social media?
tourist, right?
I'm pretty
Or is
sure
it just
it's tourism and
yeah,
immigration in general.
just I can't even imagine that. Trying to come over to the States just to tour?
Yeah.
Like,
And they're like,
no.
"Hey, you got to give us 5 hours." My family at Mikkel, when they came to visit me, my family in America, this is over the summer, they were in customs for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours.
Mm,
I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of what was going on, honestly. They But the point being is, if this current administration doesn't like what you say, they're going to get rid of you. If they don't like how you look, they're going to try to get rid of you.
yep.
And I think a lot of people are waking up to that. I know Muslims who voted for Donald Trump, which is still insane to me. And I'll keep saying that it's insane to me. And I think it's very moronic on their end. And especially because you've got Trump literally making fun of Ilhan Omar and her hijab, saying like, oh, that little funny turban she wears on her head, and then backing people up like Randy Fine, who are literally calling for Muslims to be exterminated in America. And I'm like, no, most people aren't this extreme. They see this and they think, dude, this is fucking crazy. This is getting way out of hand. And like, I know the thing is, I know some Muslims who would still vote for Trump even despite this all because they're moronic. And
Mm,
I know most Muslims I do know who did vote Trump have been realizing how crazy it is. But some people are just so far down the I hate liberals realm that it's like basically their entire personality.
yeah, literally.
And it's Trump's a very good example of how people vote for hate and not like not hope, not hopeful ideas of what they want the country to be, but
Mhm.
things they want to do to get rid of the people they don't like because they hate how this country is instead of loving how it is. The most patriotic people most of the time are people who hate this country the most, and it boils my blood. They like the people who go on like have to tell everyone how patriotic they are, but they don't agree with the Constitution. They don't think the First Amendment is correct because they don't agree with freedom of religion.
Nationalism.
It's
It's
it's a dude,
nationalism. It's
ethnic
nationalism.
nationalism. Like
What's
whatever.
what's the
If you're
quote?
proud of your country, that's awesome. Then that means you're proud of the Constitution. You're proud of what the founding fathers fought for. Like
I
this is
forget
what I
what's
like. This is
there's a certain quote that says something is wrapped in either nationalism or something is wrapped in I can't remember it. It's it has to do I can't I it's gonna come back to me. I didn't mean to cut you off. I can't think
no,
of it.
you're good. You're
It
good.
was an
Like
important quote that goes to what we're talking about. But
yeah, it was one thing that I really like to bring up here, is especially when I try to debate Christian nationalists, because they're some of the most gung ho idiots about this. Is they'll say, "Oh, well, the founding fathers are Christian." Like George Washington himself was a proud Christian, and he called himself a nationalist. He didn't call himself a Christian nationalist, and for good reason. The founding fathers, all introduced very important restrictions on religion in the country in terms of giving every religion freedom. And by signing the Treaty of Tripoli and with John Adams' second presidency in the Second Intercontinental Congress, that literally states America is not a Christian country by any means. They didn't want this country to be focused on any specific ethnicity, any specific religion. They wanted it to be a haven for people in general to come from everywhere around the world to be able to lay roots and do what they did, make a country, make a life for themselves. So when there's these people who start saying, "Oh, well, we don't want these people in our country to go against what this country's done," like I had this one guy tell me, my family has been here for hundreds of years. Like, cool, they immigrated here just like I did. You know what I mean? Your family immigrated here, then you were born here just like mine did. So what? So just because you've been here longer, or because you're Christian, that all of a sudden gives you this
right.
mentality that you're the one that belongs here, and that's what people are seeing. I mean, what we're seeing as well.
Manifest destiny, man.
Well, yeah, hugely. And what we're seeing, especially Jersey, is a fantastic example about this with the Shirel and Shirelli race.
Mhm.
Is that we've seen Indian and South Asian Americans are a fantastic example of how this rhetoric has been damaging the polling for Trump and the Republicans. Before in the 2024 election, the Indian Americans were fairly not overwhelming, but they were voting majority Trump. Now, dude, it's like 70-30 for the Democrats for the South Asians and Indian Americans because people just get fed up with the rhetoric. And I mean, especially with DC, with all this stuff with the H-1B visas, people saying, oh, we need to get rid of them because they're stealing American jobs. Listen, I'll agree. There should be things put in place to ensure that American workers, people who go to college in America, are able to get these jobs that Microsoft, Apple, Google are just offshoring to either India and other countries, or things that are being done that allow them to be essentially hire for cheaper from across the country. So when we go from there and see what the effect these people have on the global, on the American opinion of where things should be, it's clear that this is a minority opinion that Trump is backing up. JD Vance is another fantastic example of how this administration is focusing on the minority of their voters instead of the majority of the country, and how that is backfiring on them so much. And I think a very good example of this is the Epstein files. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
most of the country wants the Epstein files out, but then all of a sudden, people are saying, Trump saying, "Oh, it's a hoax, Democratic hoax." And if anything comes out about it, it's bullshit. Except if
Yep.
it's about the Democrats, in which case it's not bullshit. But I'm gonna have to make sure I use my guy Kash Patel, the podcaster, to make sure he, with his honeypot girlfriend who works for Israel, and we're gonna
Hmm.
make sure that any mention of me is scrubbed out because it's such a hoax. And it's
Right.
just people are fed up with this bullshit game, and they're
No, they
really
very,
realizing it.
they very much are. And I was having a conversation with I was having a conversation with someone. We'll just say it like that. And I was
With
basically,
someone.
with someone. I'll just say it was like, I was like, last election cycle Biden was in, everyone was like, "Oh, you voted for Biden. Your guy's doing this, X, Y, and Z, pointing the fingers at Biden voters." And I just want to say to the Trump voters, I hope this is maybe what you had in mind. And to the individual I was talking to, I was like, I'm never one to really say things like that, but it's like, as bad as it's getting and as worse as it can get, do a lot of these people think that voted for Trump think that Kamala would be way worse than what's going on now? Or do they think it would be something of the same degree? And the person I was talking to said, I would not vote for Kamala Harris. And I was kind of founded by that. And I was like, understandable. But at the same token, it's like, you get what you vote for, unfortunately. So it's
Absolutely.
like we hear the cries from the farmers and all these individuals, but it's like, you knew what he was going to do.
He
He didn't
told you. He
shy
just
from
told
it.
you straight up.
He had a whole document about it, and they released their 2026 plans as well. So it's not like this was all something that just came out of nowhere that no one should have expected. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And they had 15, moving on to the Obamacare subsidies. They had 15 years to come up with a master plan to fix these subsidies,
None.
and none. And Senate Democrats have pushed for a 3-year extension of the expiring Obamacare subsidies, which failed. 51-48
Not
on today,
surprisingly.
with 4 Democrats, Collins, Hawley, Murkowski, and Sullivan, all siding with the Democrats, but obviously falls short of that 60 vote threshold, doing the measure and paving the way for premiums to double or triple for 22 million enrollees starting January 1st. So Schumer decried that as
That's
GOP
not gonna be good.
messaging exercises, propping up the failed ACA, while Republicans blocked it over waste and fraud, even though they have a option, or they're opting for their own bill, which was defeated 51-48, which is an alternative directing funds to the HSAs, which is a health savings account, which would be up to $1,500 for low income bronze plan buyers, and a junk insurance coupon per Dems that ignores these types of premiums. So I
Yeah.
did share this plan with Muhammad yesterday. We did talk about, like, after we got done recording, the plan had came out. So we were talking about it a little bit. I am still completely against it. I don't think I'm glad that it failed. I'm
Oh
glad that
yeah.
it failed, but I'm also scared that they're not going to have enough time to put a vote up before this all happened, before January 1st. Like they failed the American people by putting up this nonsense for a vote realistically. Like how do you come up with, let's just put a max, mind you, it only goes up to 1500. Only up to 1500 and you still have a $7,500 deductible. Mind you,
Well, how does
this
that
is
even
what
work?
they put. Like, yeah, like, how is that even going to work? I was speaking to one of my coworkers today because he didn't really know about it, so I was explaining it to him more and more. And he was like, is it by social security or is it like, or is it by household? I was like, I think it's most likely by individual. So basically 1500 per individual. He was like, yeah, about 4,000. Me, my um three individuals that are living in my house, wife, two children, with $4,000 for the year for medical costs, we would go through that in like 4 months. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I'm like, a lot of people would. And the
Especially
fact that,
people who
yeah,
have already certain pre-existing conditions that they need monthly medicine
exactly,
for, pills or routines and treatments. And I know
exactly,
I said the other day when we were recording, I was like, I do want to see some changes. If we're going to go I want Medicare for all. If we're
yeah,
going to go the
100%.
route where we're going to be taking money from insurance and putting it into the pockets of the people, then I am for that as well. But we need to change the system in order to achieve that properly. And the thing is with the Republicans is they'll always cut benefits, and then they'll give you like 10% of it back directly, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you should be thankful we even gave it to you in the first place." I'm like, guy, you are not helping anyone at all with any of this. And the thing that boils my blood the most is these congressmen who have government funded healthcare telling people, "Hey, you should not have government funded healthcare because it's so bad."
John Fetterman.
Every damn GOP and John Fetterman, I can't wait to see him
Well, he
lose.
had, I mean, I don't wish no health scares on anyone, but he had a health scare, was able to get the care that, a lot of individuals and Americans aren't able to get, but only because he's a representative. But yeah, he's
Hmm.
against all of these extensions on Medicare, I mean, on the Obama subsidies and things of that nature. So, I mean, the Republicans I would say the bills that Republicans have been putting up for the Obamacare subsidies have been slaps in the face to the American peoples and punches in the gut to the Republican voters, because Republican voters will be the most impacted population from these Obamacare subsidies. People have to realize, and not to mention, urban hospitals will shutter from on top of these subsidies not going to the hospitals, but now to the HSA accounts, and also all of the changes from the big beautiful bill. Hospitals are closing left and right, and individuals are not going to have money to go to their doctors if we get 1,500 for the freaking year. As someone
Yeah,
that's 29 years old, I would be okay with that because I know I'm not going to be going to the doctors to be spending 1,500
but
because I know I
anything
just
can
don't get.
happen.
No, 100%. Listen, anything can happen. I had to do my own re-enrollment into my healthcare for my job. So I looked at the different plans.
1, 2, 3, Mikhail. He's tuning back out. Must be having some
Out of here.
internet problems.
I
Israel's to
know.
blame.
Why is that is so
You tuned
spotty
out the
today, dude?
moment you started talking about the plans you had to look at when you're
So yeah, I'd
when.
look at plans for myself. I was thinking about going to a lower insurance plan, just that's less out of my pocket. But I'm like, but I would have a deductible at that point if I went to that lower plan. But then I was like, you know what? Why? Like, God forbid something does happen and I have to now pay that out of pocket, depending upon that amount. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stay with what I have. X that out. Like, this is
Yeah,
going to be an issue for a lot of people that don't have the funds in their pocket. Look, people that make $300,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. People,
yeah,
if that's not scary, then I don't know what is. Like,
yeah.
that
No,
is the true alarming sound. Like, I
especially
don't.
considering the economy is not looking good.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
economy's not looking good. We're gonna touch on that. Just wanting to get to going to touch on the legal side of things. Actually, we're gonna jump right down to legals.
Epstein.
We got about 20 minutes left. Want to try to get this into an hour for you guys. So
Yeah, let's
as
hit a
Mama
little
was
bit
saying
of
with the Epstein
speedster.
files, this part's a little short because it really deals with kind of what Muhammad was saying, how the Epstein files, there's, troves of documents. And actually, I think on December 10th, actually, a federal judge is accelerating the transparency of those documents with an unsealing of the 2019 grand jury transcripts under the new Epstein Files Transparency Act, overriding prior secrecy. And also, what's being done, the Democrats have sent a letter to the DOJ asking for a third party audit of the files to make sure that there was no initial irregularities after the reports of 1,000 FBI staffers scrubbing Trump's mentions of his names, and as well as the chain of custody for these documents. For anyone that doesn't know, chain of custody of documents, if I have a document and I give it to Muhammad, I have to record that I gave it to Muhammad. Muhammad gives it to someone else. That has to get recorded. That usually depends upon the importance of the document. Um, I only know about that because I used to do campus security for York College, Pennsylvania.
I didn't know you did campus security. That's funny.
Yeah, that's a funny story that I can't say on here, but
Damn. But yeah,
it's a
keep
funny story.
going. What you gotta tell me about that another time.
Yeah, I will when we're on the Xbox. It's a funny story with me, Dylan, and Dom after yeah, funny story. But
You
yeah, I
guys'
think that
freshman year, sophomore year,
sophomore year we were over at what's that? Not Little Run, the house, the houses that were over
country
there.
club,
Yeah, we were in Country Club. Yeah.
best
So
place to
yeah,
live.
we were in Country Club. Yeah, those are the days, man. Those are the days. But
Yeah.
so yeah, they're basically the Democrats with this letter. They want the DOJ to go through a tertiary audit of the files to make sure that there are no irregularities when they were going through the report, making sure that certain Trump's names weren't taken out of key mentions. Because if that's the case, then I mean, how illegal is that? You're gonna have your own DOJ
Oh
scrub the
yeah.
document for your names.
And the
I'm like,
DOJ is a separate arm from the executive
it's
branch.
supposed to be an
It's supposed to
independent.
be.
It's
This is like
supposed to be.
unprecedented.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, and I had this conversation with my coworker. I was like, it's like half my side is like, we need a Democrat that's going to come in and unify everyone together. My other side is like, we need a Democrat that's going to come in and say, F Republicans, punch them in the face, take their money, and give it back to where it's supposed to be. Realistically, like I'm on two sides here of the same front, and I think Newsom is going to be that guy who eventually does do that and rises to the top. But we shall see.
He's the
Wanting
clear
to
front runner now.
Yeah,
Did you see
clear
that?
front runner. I
He's
mean,
gonna
yeah,
be the
clear
guy.
front runner.
Dude,
He's gonna be the
I
guy. I mean,
if I see some one of those like poly market odds, I'm putting money on him. I'm
yeah,
confident he's gonna
I'm
win.
confident
Gut
too. I'm
feeling.
very, very confident as well. Very confident.
Has
And
the
then,
look, good timing with how bad Republicans are doing. He's gonna have the
by
message.
far, he's got looks, the hair,
Bro might have the easiest presidential run in modern history. I'm not even kidding.
yeah. I mean, even before we were reporting that Republicans were like, some Republican voters on X were basically like, how can we support kind of JD Vance if this is his wife and kids?
Yeah.
I find that terrible, don't get me wrong. I find that completely disgusting personally, but that's how that sides of the aisles think. Unfortunately, they see that he's married to an Indian woman, and they're like, how can we trust this individual to lead our country? That's how they see it. That's how some Republican voters are seeing it. Some MAGA voters, I should say, not Republican
Yeah.
voters, more MAGA in a sense when it comes to those certain things. But no, we will see how that 2028 spotlight and who it shines on. And then going into the next section, looking at economy, there were reports that immigration drives rental surge and even strains housing. So a HUD worst case housing needs report reveals foreign born population growth fueled over 60% of U.S. rental demand from 2021 to 2024, rising to 66% nationally and 100% in California and New York, exacerbating affordability crisis for low income Americans amid 15 million plus illegal immigrants. 30% of foreign born 30% of foreign born, with non-citizen households up 13% versus 7% for citizens. Pricing families out of median rents with hit around 1,300, which is a 17.5% jump. So, we've had conversations on this. This report is eye-opening in a sense because we were always saying it's the BlackRock individuals that are going in there, buying up the houses, putting them up,
Well,
raising
I
them up
want to
for
make
rent.
my case. I
But
want to make my
yeah, make
case.
your
I've
case.
argued against that on this exact podcast where
Yeah.
I said data has shown that BlackRock doesn't own too much housing. They buy other things. They don't own too much housing, and the housing they buy, they flip fairly quickly, and it's affordable because they have lower overhead costs. But I do want to question the integrity of this report because this is a Trump administration
Yep. It's
HUD.
HUD. HUD.
This is Trump admin. They have been known to lie. They have been known to push lies out. They have been known. They're telling you the economy is great. The economy is not great. They're telling you Chrissy Noem just went out. She's the head of the Homeland Security. She just said we've never deported veterans. They got shown face to face with a veteran they deported. They said we've never detained U.S. citizens. They were shown a U.S. citizens they detained. I
Yep.
think this is just nothing more than an attempt to put blame on foreign-born citizens to completely rile up the MAGA crowd to say this is why we need to get rid of foreigners.
Yeah, I
Meanwhile, the
agree.
real issue is the fact that housing can't be built because of corrupt local politics and corrupt state and federal politics, and how supply and demand are the simple formula here. Yes,
Yeah.
you could say if the supply stays the same, the demand goes up. Naturally, prices go up. So that's why we
Yeah.
need the supply to go up. We can't just say, oh, well, these people aren't allowed to immigrate to America because they're ruining things for people already here. I'm like, how about we, instead of stagnating what we're doing, we keep chugging forward? How about we just build new towns, cities, add more housing? Why don't we do any of this? And it's because these people don't want to actually take the difficult and proper path.
Oh
They
my
want to play the blame game on somebody so they can say, hey, this is why your life sucks. We're not the reason your life sucks. It's these immigrants that are the reason why your life sucks. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure that the immigrants moving in here is definitely adding more demand to the housing market. And the issue is with all this, though, is that housing prices have been skyrocketing. Mortgages have skyrocketed. Rent affordability compared to housing is at it's one of its best levels in the last 30, 40 years. And that solution in that isn't to blame foreign born people, the
Right.
solution or
Yeah.
immigrants. The solution is
Mhm.
to build more damn houses. It's
Yeah,
just,
literally. We have the room to build more houses. And I
dude,
even
we're
saw
a big
today that
fucking country. We have so much room.
he actually, I know individuals aren't, you know, there's a lot of obviously most opposition on immigration is for illegal immigration. But I actually just saw that he's halting legal immigration. I'm like, immigrate it's illegal immigration that populations have, that voting populations, constituency populations have the issue with. It's never illegal immigration. If you're here legally, that's what we want. That's what we want to see. But it's just the process takes so long. I remember when Katie was talking to us about it. The process is long. It's long, it's tiresome, and it's almost like 2 to 5 years just to
Dude,
get the process started and get acclimated and all that stuff. It's like
it's on
5
purpose
years ago,
to
and
keep the
then you're already in
immigration
the
courts
country,
low.
like, you're already in the country working at that point, and if you're in the country during these 4 years, who's to say that you're trying to get your papers and stuff, and someone ICE picks you up and tries to deport you, but you're already going through the process? Like, what?
That's
Like,
actually
I
illegal
like,
to do. That is actually illegal to do, to be able to get thrown out of the country while you're
this
going
is
through the whole
ridiculous.
process. And the funniest and most frustrating thing about this all, despite it being illegal, Christy Noem and ICE have done that quite a bit of times, even going so far as to literally wait outside immigration law offices while people are working with their immigration lawyers to deport them out of the country.
I don't
It
get that.
is clear, dude, where this is going. They just want to blame everything on immigrants. They don't actually care if they're illegal anymore. They use that as the snake to slip into these boots to be able to bite you with their venom. And they're going to keep saying, oh, well, the reason why you don't like us biting you is because you don't agree with what is the right. And what is right is getting rid of these people who are
Yep.
making our country worse. They're making housing more expensive. They're committing more crime. Totally disregarding the fact that natural born citizens do commit more crime than immigrants. And I can speak to that because I know my parents were not fooling around at all with the slightest things, even speeding tickets, for Christ's sake. They're like, I
Yeah,
don't want to get in
anything.
trouble.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
I know the first generation of people who were born here, Bosnian Muslims, out there doing the dumbest shit. And it's just that and that's just an example of the people who I know who immigrated here with refugee status, which I just want to add in a quick 10-second rant. The only refugees nowadays are white South Africans. I would never have been able to come to this country if Trump was president.
yeah.
So shout out to the Muslims who did vote for Trump. You guys are fucking stupid. I will be avoiding that word as that we go on this podcast to maintain professionality, but I do think it's nice to show some emotion and anger and passion when it comes to certain
Yes,
things
yes, yes.
because
Always,
people's
always.
lives literally are at stake. I understand people care about how they live. I understand people care about their end of the day, how they're going to be able to afford housing, how they can afford food. That is reasonable. What isn't reasonable is to vote for somebody who has quite literally told you these people are an issue. They're evil. They don't belong in this country. Buddy, you dodged the draft. You cheated on every wife you've had. You've
Yep,
stolen money from cancer charities.
yep.
I'd rather have the illegal Ramirez's and Alvarez's living by me as neighbors like they have, and I grew up with them and they were great people, than somebody who I think is going to steal from me and then tell me they're better than me because they have more money from me that they
Yeah.
stole from me. And
I
the
think that
fact
one
is that
yeah.
uh,
I was
the
say that one
fact
thing that
I
JD
got 10
Vance
more
said when he
seconds.
was. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
And the fact is that people keep falling hook, line, and sinker for the nonsense that comes from a billionaire, that comes from politicians who don't care about them. They think, well, what they're saying is reasonable. No, it's not. It is not. All right, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember when JD Vance was talking, he was like, no one wants foreigners, living next to them, in their developments and things of that nature. It's like, buddy, your wife, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, are
Exactly.
you kidding me right now? Like, are you
Dude, she
serious
has
right now?
to. I wouldn't be
I
surprised if she divorces him.
I
I hope
saw
she
something
does.
that I saw the video. A picture. I showed it to my girlfriend. I was like, what do you notice about this picture of JD Vance's wife? So she doesn't have a ring on. I was like,
Yeah.
I
You know,
saw
the
that.
funny
But I was like,
thing
could be
is,
AI or things of that
no,
nature.
no,
I
no.
was like,
She talked about it. She was like,
oh,
the
okay.
first time the pictures came around, she was like, "Oh, well, I'm a busy woman. I do a lot of do a
Uh,
lot of things, so I do take my ring off time to time, just so I can make sure it doesn't slip off." And then she got called that off the second and third time doing public readings. And I was like, dude, I wonder how much of this is what she said, which is a reasonable thing to say, and also how much of this is her not enjoying what her husband has been doing because he's been spitting white nationalist rhetoric and also
hmm
been getting fueled up by Erica Kirk.
Yep, that hillbilly eulogy coming in
Yeah,
hot.
no, seriously. Calling Trump a Nazi and then immediately throwing away all those morals that you built up so much just so you can have a little bit of extra power and showtime.
Literally, literally. And I know we're going to touch on these last three things for you guys. Trump eyeing no tax on gambling wins. Now, I would
Fucking
say
insanely stupid.
I don't. I'm a gambling winner. I be winning from here time to time. Can't
Mikhail, you
hold
know
you.
who the people,
But
you know what
that
this is?
I don't agree with. With yeah, as you said, this what's going on. You're more on the tax side of things, so kind of give explanation to what he's trying to do from the notes that we have here and from your expertise. Muhammad, what are you thinking about this in general, as the terms of gambling winnings, no tax? What do you think implications? Let's run with it.
So the big issue with gambling and sports betting wins is that they are taxed as normal income once you get them. They
Yeah.
in Trump with the big beautiful bill actually made it so that you're automatically taxed on your winnings even if you end up losing them, and made it more difficult to deduct those losses from the wins. So now this is really it's a way to shuffle income around to be able to get it away tax free. So, like, say, this isn't really going to matter for the guys who go to Vegas once a year, make a few $100s a year, maybe even a few $1,000s a year sports betting. But what this is going to be really big for are those people who go to, the Dave Portnoy's, a horrible example because I hate that guy, but Michael Jordan type deal people actually. Like people who are already making millions worth of dollars, who have tens of millions in their name, and then they're able to take these outlandishly large bets that they can just play it safe, especially if you're already connected on the inside. I mean, look at how many stories have been coming out about insider betting. The more sports betting grows in this country, the more this is going to be an issue. The more the money is there to be made in this, the more corruption there will be. I mean, we even saw a coach in the NBA accused of this. We've seen getting guiltily charged. I mean, not charged yet, guilty, but being brought forth with the charges. We've seen players in the NBA doing the same exact thing, purposely playing like garbage so they can get their friends and them more money on the sports betting market.
And baseball
So
too.
this just,
Yep.
yeah, baseball
Yeah,
too.
baseball too.
And
The dude was throwing them down to the ground. I remember that.
this is just going to get worse. And
Oh
so
yeah.
now by taking away the taxes on it, it's literally like saying this is going to be one of the most profitable ways to make money. Because listen, if you're a sports player, you're going to be getting paid 30 to 40% on your income. And then they're saying, well, if you just take the money post tax and then you gamble it on yourself in a certain way, and then you just, do a certain thing, now you can get double your money and you have to pay tax on none of it. Or
Yep.
even worse, then you can get rich people, billionaires who own these sports teams going for that exact kind of thing. And it also, listen, man, this isn't even as something as a religious man. As somebody who just doesn't want people to get into gambling because of how risky it is and how it's generally a losing game for most people,
Yeah.
shouldn't be promoting it like this, you know?
Yeah. I also don't agree with like I really don't understand how I can be watching like tonight, Thursday night football. I could be watching football next, FanDuel commercial. I'm like, why am I seeing a betting commercial on a sports event? I'm like, that should not like why is that? That should not be a thing. Like, is that not corruption in itself? Like
Dude,
I
20
just like even off that the
absolutely.
deal alone, like even seeing it on like stadiums, I'm like, why? I'm like, why are they being sponsors of sports teams or things of that nature? I'm like, does that not breathe the level of corruption that we're seeing with players getting arrested left and right from almost every single great sport that's been played right now? Literally. And like I mean, I can't say myself. I've unfortunately betted on some of these MFers, and
If I knew they were
I've
fucking
now
throwing
like
games,
I've
I would
now
have been
watched
betting on them
like I've
more.
now gone back and like they'll show the videos when they're like throwing the ball down to the ground, like the Guardians pitcher, like he would do it, and it wasn't like let's just say like I don't think they were bets for like the whole game, like strikeouts or things of that nature. It was literally like inning
Yeah.
bets for the pitcher. It was like, what's this? What is he gonna pitch at this inning? It's like just ground ball, not ground ball, whatever it's called, a ball basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing it to the ground almost like 4 or 5 times in a row while at the plate as a pitcher. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and he should be locked up like the rest of them. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. I'm like,
Mhm.
if they think they can, collaborate and make me lose my parlay, they got one another thing coming.
And who do you think is going to be getting most of their money taken in these sports bets? The normal people who aren't the rich and the connected who know these insider bets are going on and
Yep.
these deals are being made. People like me and you, 20% of young men suffer with sports gambling addiction now. And this is just going to continue to one, promote that addiction by saying, hey, you don't have to pay taxes on your winnings. And then two, cause them to lose even more money because it will just continue to promote the corruption that we're already seeing without this massive giveaway of wealth to the rich.
Yeah, literally
Just
massive
blows my
giveaway
blood.
to the rich. I mean, we're gonna see even more because it's not in our notes, but I did see it on the way over here when driving that he is planning to cut the corporate rate tax even more. Actually,
I'm not
even
surprised.
even more. We're gonna have an episode Friday as well, so we'll touch more base on that so we can get all the information, get everything right for you guys tomorrow.
I
But
hate this man.
yeah, it's insane. I can't wait to look more into that. And then the last two
Instead of
pieces,
cutting individual tax rates, he's going to cut the
the
corporate tax rates
corporate tax
more.
rate. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Fuck the individuals. Fuck the working class.
Yeah. We're just getting layoffs left and right.
Right.
No problem with
Layoffs,
us.
highest layoffs since the Great Recession. You know what we're going to do? Instead of helping you guys get more money, save more money, we're just going to cut the taxes for the people who are cutting your
Yeah,
jobs away and
and
giving them to overseas.
we'll do tax on tips, all that stuff next year. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I could
okay.
just once the
Yeah,
new year
okay.
starts and people start filing taxes, health premiums go up. It is going to be a
Be mayhem.
bloodbath.
Mayhem. Another
Mm-hmm.
front on the home side of thing, US on the home sides of things. US home prices turned negative year over year for the first time since mid 2023, down 1.4 nationally. Looking at some high frequency data with steeper drops in Austin, negative 10%, Denver, negative 5%, Tampa, Houston, negative 4%, amid 13% active, 13% higher active listings, but sluggish 1.7% new supply. So the softening follows pandemic surge. High rates are about like 7% plus mortgages and investor pullbacks, with Zillow noting 53% of homes have lost value in the last 12 months, worse than 2012. But experts like Graham Stephen, who forecasts possible stability almost to near zero growth into 2026, and not more like the 2008 style crash, but as inventory creeps up, there could be a recessionary plunge overall. And we were talking about that the other day with our generation homeowners. We're looking at 46. I mean, no, sorry, what were we saying? What were we saying, 47, I think?
It was
Or was it
low
37?
40s, actually. It was like
I was like,
44, and not
it's like
mid
40.
40s,
Yeah,
mid.
it's like mid 40s ish. uh Losing home value. Usually individuals that are in the Gen Z ranking are usually about 30,000 off of what they need from the deposit and paying everything for the initial buying of the house. So the housing market in general for younger generations is not looking good, and even for older generations looking to sell their house, it's not looking good
I
either
want
because
to
you're getting
say,
less value on it.
isn't this so funny how this report from private companies about how housing prices are going is quite literally the opposite of what the Department of Home and Urban Development has been
Yeah,
saying? Literally the
literally.
opposite. Oh, wait, housing prices are going down. Things are getting cheaper because nobody's buying. HUD,
Sure.
immigrants are taking all the houses and rent is skyrocketing because of it. Like, dude, it's literally 9-day difference. Literal
It's 9 day
9-day difference.
difference. Yeah, I mean, when you have an administration that won't even put out
Inflation numbers.
inflation data, even though they're gramming about how great the economy is doing, don't want to put out jobs report data for the month, for that 1 month of the shutdown. That's sketchy to
Hmm.
me, and my
I don't trust a
aspects.
damn thing
And
that comes out of the
I
government.
don't think Biden ever hit any. I mean, his stuff might have been inflated. Don't get me wrong. We did cover that on here. We did say
Yeah,
it
we did.
possibly was
We did.
inflated, but even though those things of that nature, he still stood on it and said it at least. I mean, he didn't try to hide it, try to make things look better than they were. I mean, yes, he did lie about numbers, things of that nature that we did talk about, but it wasn't in that sense like, yeah, we're not even going to put it out at all. Like to where people can challenge it. Like, no, not at all. Just go to the next month. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, they're delaying the numbers until the next month, and
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I think it's so they can either A, jazz them up, which is what I expect it to be, or B, which I think would be even worse, honestly, just from an overall standpoint. They couldn't compile the data and everything in time because of how inefficient and poorly run they are, which also wouldn't surprise me about this administration based off how they've been appointing people like Christy Noam to Department of Homeland Security and Linda McMahon to be the head of the Department of Education. Linda McMahon literally was the wife of the guy who ran the WWE.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck does I should stop saying that. What the hell does she know about running the education of the entire country? Nothing. Nothing.
It's like that to make something of a fun of it. It's like that Kanye West commercial. He's like, he's like, look at Lady Gaga. She's the creative director of Polaroid. He's like, I like some of the Gaga music. He said, what does she know about cameras?
What does
And
she
that
know about
and that's
exactly?
exactly as it is. What does she know about education? I don't know. You tell me. Couldn't
Yeah,
couldn't put it together. But
seriously.
going into our last section, looking at global. When this happened, I was like, wow. Venezuela tankers seized.
Wow, making it very
Escalations.
clear what this is
Yeah.
about. They're saying it's for fentanyl and drugs while they seize oil
Fentanyl
tankers.
for drugs, whatever. These guys are just trying to take. I know we're on the same vibe here, but they're just going for the oil. The U.S.
Mhm.
I sent you the video. There's a video out there as well of the United States taking over the tanker. Venezuela is saying that it is illegal. Well,
It is.
illegal terrorism, things of that nature. The administration is saying that it is spreading democracy. So I don't know which way you want
What
to
a
go with it.
terrorist way of saying that. Like,
It was horrible.
imagine if, like, ISIS said that, like, "We're just spreading Sharia law." Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Instantly,
Exactly.
the
Like,
West would be like, "These guys are terrorists." But the West
yep.
says, "We're spreading democracy by illegally seizing your ship." What? This isn't fucking Helldivers, dude. This is worse
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
stereotypical
yeah.
video game joking propaganda that we're shown. This
Literally.
is so much worse because not only is it more, what's the word I'm looking for? More insane is honestly a word you can use for it, but it is also real. You know, like these
Yeah.
people are actually committing terrorism, and then they're saying it's in the name of democracy.
Yep. So yeah, the U.S. sees the sanctioned tanker skipper off Venezuela on December 10th, yesterday, and this is Trump's largest ever, carrying a 1.1 million barrels of crude oil, which they say was bound for Cuba after Iranian ties and so forth. So this
Mhm.
is this is coming from via FBI, HSI, and Coast Guard raid under warrant for illicit shipping, which is they're saying that this tanker was funded by the IRGC slash Hezbollah. And coming from AG Pam Bondi, she states that um, her and White House Caroline Levitt are confirming the intent to forfeit the oil, which is worth over 60 to 100 million via legal processes, since we now have the vessel, and then forfeiting out to U.S. ports amid the various probes. But the Treasury has sanctioned 6 more ships, and also Maduro's nephews as well. So not only are more ships now being sanctioned, Maduro's family is now coming under that same sanctionary terms. And then Maduro has been decrying nothing but piracy, and has felt his resources are nothing but being stolen by the United States, such as this tanker. And, he's vowing defense. So we'll see what's really going to happen. We'll see if things are going to escalate to a point to where it's actually boots on the ground, which I think would be the most scary part of it, because I
Would
think
be
boots on the
insane.
ground
Would be
in
another
Venezuela.
bloodbath causing event for the
Right, you're
Republicans.
in Venezuela, you're in their homeland. I know it's not like Vietnam or anything of that nature, but still, like, that's a whole different area. Like, I look at kind of Venezuela as like that one Fast and Furious movie when they were running in Rio de Janeiro. I forget which one it was, but like kind of like that. You're kind of just running around everywhere. Everyone kind of like has just like regular clothes on, who are just military style, given it's with the drug cartels and so forth. Like, that's going to be hard to do and to fight. And as we know, the war on drugs has done nothing good for the country as a whole. So I don't see where really this goes, besides just wanting to get more oil for the United States. But why isn't there more diplomatic way to just go about it?
It's
I
too
understand Maduro is out there. He's not the leader that we would want for a democracy in Venezuela, but it's like, his if his people are backing him, why do we need to go in there and steal someone else?
not even that. It's not our
Like,
concern. It's
yeah,
not our
it's like
concern.
it's not our concern. If they have that tons of oil in Venezuela, then that's their God-given right to it. Why should we be going and trying to shake up Venezuela, put in someone new, when the country is just as it is? Just leave it as it is. I thought that's what Republicans wanted, to stay out of these little skirmishes, these little fights, and these wars that escalate, to now you have a whole intervention of us being there. Like, now there is no war, just given that war is only, officially made through by Congress. These are just military interactions, technically. So
Insane that
it's
this
like
is a thing.
the whole blow up of how war is done and how Republicans for 4 years were stating why we shouldn't be in Ukraine, shouldn't be here, shouldn't be there. But now we're just full heartedly just going in with what's going on in Venezuela. It's like, where is the backbone and the common sense for Americans? It's like, we need to get out of these wars for stupid reasons. I understand, yes, oil is a very important reason and why George Bush lied in 2000 and 2000 and all those scenarios, but it's like the American people in our lives and the livelihood of constituents is more important than for us going overseas fighting drug cartels when it doesn't seem like the Trump administration is really even doing that at home domestically.
It's not
All the
about drugs.
resources, all
It's
the
not
resources
about
are
drugs.
for ICE. It's like, if we were gonna make this about drugs, just make it about drugs. If we're gonna make it about oil, just make it about oil. Don't try to masquerade it with something false, because your voters are gonna see through it, and the backlash that we've been seeing and the Democrats that we've been seeing getting voted in office, we're only going to see it more. So this is only going to help the Democratic Party in the long scale of things. And I mean, I don't understand. I just don't
I mean,
understand
I'll
the
tell you what
like.
exactly what this is. Then we've talked about it before about how the one they want to control Venezuela is an extremely pro-Israel person, and they also want to privatize the oil so they instead of keeping it state controlled, so they can then have the United States and other countries completely just profit off of it. And the issue is the top oil producing countries, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Russia, two of the three are not friendly at all, really, with Israel whatsoever, and with the West. Saudi Arabia is on that line, and they've noticed after Qatar got bombed that the United States is not this sole benefactor who's always got their goodwill in mind, because they've got Israel good in mind even more. So it's a mixture of, one, they want to control the oil in the West where they can, because they can't control Iran, they can't control Russia, and they cannot control Saudi Arabia. That's why they're working so hard for an economic agreement with Saudi Arabia as they are. And two, they want somebody who's going to be on their side with Israel. That's why they were so pro Argentina. Argentina didn't had a recognize the state of Palestine until Javier Milei came into power, and then they stopped recognizing Palestine, and they moved the Argentina embassy of Israel to Jerusalem, which is in West Bank, which is Palestine even by modern nation circumstances. So then it's just a huge geopolitical power move to attempt to grab oil from another country to benefit war crime Israel and war crime America. Listen, I love America. I want the
America.
American empire to survive and prosper. I want us to be the
Same.
number one country. I think how we're doing it is just so damn stupid though. Why are we invading other countries? Why are we with Israel so much? Why are we trying to get involved with every little country's politics? Listen, if we really wanted to change things up, then just be friends with
Yes,
everybody like China is.
literally.
Look at how well China is doing compared to us. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna promote. China isn't a communist country. They're run by a communist party, Chinese Communist Party, but they're capitalistic. They're state capitalism just like we are, literally just like we
Yeah.
are. The difference is they have special economic zones that have been put in the highest growing cities, which is what has been funding so much growth for them.
Yeah.
Whereas we haven't even focused on growing or any of our cities anymore. We've been so focused on establishing American imperialism across the world. I don't give a damn about the Middle East. I
Yep.
don't give a damn
I
about
don't.
Venezuela. Make my housing cheaper, make my life more affordable, and holy shit, allow the American citizens to prosper and thrive. All of a sudden, that America's amazing American dream, we're going to be brain draining everybody. We have lost so much brain drain because of Trump and his dumbass cronies that it's just hurting us in the future. They
Yeah,
say
man.
this is for America first. Buddy, if you care about America first, then give the people who are in America already more opportunities. Don't stop the opportunities from taking the world's greatest talents and then say, oh, well, we have to do that for America. And at the same time, say Americans are too stupid to take these jobs. One, teach the Americans how to do this.
Yep.
Two, stop cutting off the brain drain. And three, for Christ's sake, stop trying to think that everybody should listen to you because you're America.
Yep.
Dude, this is the issue with Russia and Iran so much. That we were talking about it with Mela, and I was
Yep.
like,
Yep.
so what we've sanctioned Russia to hell and back. We've sanctioned Iran to hell and back. And yet they're still prospering. They're still trading with China, with each other, with India. What do we do there? Do we cut off India and China completely because they're trading that people
No.
don't agree with? Do you really want to go down that road? Do you really want to go down the road of economically bullying people when you're no longer the economic powerhouse of the world like you think you are? Sure, we're still the global reserve currency. We are slipping. And we are slipping because of
Fast.
this patheticism. This isn't just something new with Trump, but Trump is just the highlight of it. Biden, Bush, Obama, even I'll go that far because he was drone striking people left and right. We were in the Middle
Yes,
East for
it
so
was.
long for no
Yeah.
damn reason. Spent more than $1 trillion in the Middle East for no reason other than trying to change regimes, trying to help Israel, and trying to control more oil. It has clearly not worked. It's clearly not going to work now. And it is baffling and frustrating as somebody who is a young man seeing the country slip into unaffordability, seeing people lose healthcare affordability, seeing people not being able to afford food like they used to. And all I'm being told about is you should care about Venezuela. You should care about radical Islam. I don't give a damn about radical Islam. I
Yeah.
don't care about socialism. I care about America. And these problems are not affecting us. They're just distractions so you guys can get and fill your egos to help your friends in Israel so they can try to have more control over the world. I don't give a damn. And I hope, sincerely hope, these people, if this was the 1770s, I would be saying tar and feather these people. I
Yeah.
can't find tar. I can't
Yeah.
find that many feathers. I can find feathers easier than tar. We should
No,
tar and
100%.
feather these people. Hang them upside down. Let them rot. They are pathetic excuses of Americans that are selling our countries out to foreign countries for their own greed. And it is something that I can't wait for the transfer of wealth and power to happen over the next 15, 20 years. Because I really believe America is in a do or die moment. We're either going to give up our status as the global leading country to China in the East, or we're going to fix our mistakes and get our shit back on the road. And I think this whole Venezuela situation is a perfect example of us continuing to make the same mistakes we have the last 25 years. And
I
you
completely
got
agree.
anything else you want to say, Mikhail, before we wrap it up?
'Cause I completely agree. As you were saying, younger generations like you and I, from high school to beginning years, well, finishing out college, we had high hopes of things we've wanted to do. And now we're seeing that the economy in the world is not really living up to our expectations realistically. A lot of individuals are feeling that, and those frustrations
Mhm.
that you have, I'm sure everyone feels that that's within our age range or in the Gen Z block of growth. But no, 100%. You hit the nail on the head on the way to round this whole conversation up. And to our listeners, we do know this was a little more hectic of a stream, but we do appreciate your patience and we appreciate your time being here with us. Thank you for always tuning in to Behind the Ballot, where we keep politics engaged, balanced, and informative. Always stay curious, stay critical, and stay involved. I'm Mikkel Jenkins, and until next time, keep looking beyond the headlines and behind the ballot.
This is Muhammad Alec. God bless America, except for the politicians who are selling us out. God bless the American people. You all are good people. I really believe in it. And may you all have a